Welcome to the Medium in the Middle podcast. I'm your host, Stephanie, the Medium in the Middle. On this podcast, I share my journey as a developing psychic medium, as a Reiki master teacher, as an Akashic Record practitioner, and anything else that's thrown my way. Join me every week. I release new episodes every Tuesday. Hello, Middlers. Welcome back to episode 119. My name is Stephanie. I am the Medium in the Middle, and this episode is all questions submitted by you on Instagram. So I'm really excited to have this conversation today because it is pulled from the audience of what you want to know, what you're curious in. So if you are new to the podcast, welcome. Every few months, I take a poll on Instagram and I ask what questions you want to know. Podcast, mediumship, Reiki, Akashic Records, Psych K, Archie. What do you want to know about? And I answer them here on the podcast. If you are a new listener, I do recommend going back and listening from episode 1. I tell my mediumship journey from the very beginning, from the first time I talked to Spirit, and then what's been happening over the years ever since. After the first about 10 episodes, I definitely think you can cherry pick. You don't have to listen to all 118 in order, but the first 10 will probably answer a lot of questions for you, maybe help you in where you are in your development. And then as we work through, you can pick out which episodes you like. So welcome to any new listeners. We are going to start off with announcements. I have a few exciting things to share with you guys. So the March meeting in the middle is a two-parter. So part 1 is how to manifest on March 10th, and part 2 is how to listen to the universe on March 31st. I ran these 2 workshops last year and they were a big hit, so I'm bringing them back around for anyone who missed out on them, with an upgrade, of course. So I'm excited for that 2-parter. They are $33 each, or $55 Canadian for both. They are 1-hour workshops, and the replay is available to everyone that registers. I'm very excited to say that if you are coming to BANFF in May and you want to see me and a medium named Bree doing a live mediumship event, come see us at Mediums in the Mountains. It's May 29th. There are still some tickets available. I will leave the link down below in the show notes for that. And the last thing I'm excited to announce is that I am launching the 3rd round of Mentees in the Middle. So it is my 8-week mentorship program, and it has half sold out to the wait list, so I'm opening up any remaining spots. And that will be starting the first week of April. So if you are looking for mentorship, if you are looking for support and guidance on your journey, I would love for you to apply. The application process sounds scary, but it's not. It is just to make sure we are a good fit for each other. It's to ensure that I believe I can help you and that we will be a good match to work together over the 2 months. So I'll leave all the links to all of that down below in the show notes. Okay, before we get into this week's episode, we are doing a one-card pull. I always feel like a auctioneer. We have one card this week, one card. And it is from the Rebecca Campbell Work Your Light Oracle deck. The card is the Crumbling. What are you clinging on to? I don't think I've ever pulled this card before. There is a shift happening right now where anything inauthentic can no longer survive. Relationships, jobs, social structures, anything built on shaky ground is destined to tumble down. It's happening to bring you back home to who you truly are, both individually and to society as a whole, so you can live a life that is in alignment with who you truly are. When you're in the thick of it, it can feel like a personal attack from the universe. Have faith because the difficult times will be your defining moments. You will be reborn in the fire. You are being called to surrender, to stop trying to hold it all together, to loosen your grip, to let the crumbling occur. It may be difficult at first, but in the end, the sooner you let go, the sooner the rebirthing will occur. What are you trying to hold together? What are you doing your best to avoid? How are you trying to pretend everything is okay? You have what it takes to allow what is falling away to tumble and fall. Once the tower has crumbled, you will be able to rebuild your home on solid ground with a mighty foundation and a view that is so magnificent it will take your breath away in each new morn. Kali, the goddess of destruction, and the Black Madonna are with you now. Lay it all on their altar. They can hold it all. Ooh, work your light inquiry. What are you clinging to for the fear of nothing coming to take its place? I feel seen and heard by this card. I know what I'm clinging on to. Ooh la la! Okay, starting off with a bang today. So I'm excited to get into these questions that you submitted on Instagram. If you don't already follow along on Instagram or Facebook, come along. We have fun over there at Medium in the Middle. But last week's episode was inspired by some questions that I got asked in these question boxes in regards to what do I wish I knew before I started my business and dealing with business versus energetics. So if you haven't listened to that one already, it's episode 118. That one was a good one. But there's many other questions to answer in this, so it's kind of all over the map, but I think that you will find these very interesting. So, question number 1. How can one safely start mediumship practice when you can't afford a mentor? This is a really good question, and I want to address 2 things. Number 1, you are always safe. You are always safe. I had a mentor explain to me that in regards to boundaries or protection, quote unquote, she said, we don't need protecting. She's like, no one's out to get us. No one's attacking us. She's like, we just need to be mindful of what's ours and what's not ours. So in the same way, when you're working with spirit, you just want to be really clear of your on and off switch when you're working so that you are clear of when you are on and when you are off. But I would say if you don't want to work with a mentor or you're not able to, you don't need to. You just need to practice, because even if you work with me in my 8-week program, in between our calls, you are practicing. So start finding people to practice with. Your mom, your neighbor, your sister, your auntie, your brother, his friend, anyone who you can find that will practice little 20-minute readings with you. Just start practicing. Just keep pushing out your circle until you have enough people, but start practicing. You don't need a mentor. You just need kind of in the trenches experience. You need on the ground experience to learn how you work. So this is for anyone who either doesn't have time, doesn't have the funds. That is totally okay. You don't need a mentor. You don't need to be part of a group. You just need to search out those experiences yourself. So find people to practice with. And I really recommend 20-minute sessions. So the next question is, do spirits ever connect with you in your dream space? And I like this question, and I have a simple answer for you. I live by the rule, a dream is a dream unless you remember it, and then it's a message. So yes, I do sometimes remember my dreams, and they are a message. Sometimes they're psychic, sometimes they're future, sometimes they're mediumship. Sometimes it's about what's going on in my life, and I get guidance. But not all my dreams are like that, just sometimes. But usually if I have a dream about someone or something, it means something. So I've learned over time to kind of pay attention to them. But for the most part, I don't have them very often, I would say. Maybe once every few weeks. But yeah, I do get some messages in my dreams. But something you can live by or remember. A dream is a dream. Unless you remember, then it's a message. So I got a few questions on this about astral traveling or astral children. Do I know anyone who has some? Do I have any? Do I astral project? And the answer is no. I have no idea what that is. I think I have a slight maybe idea of what this is, but it's funny because when you're in this realm, the spiritual realm, whatever you want to call it, I think people think that we know everything, and I'm here to be very honest with you and tell you that I do not. I know a lot about Reiki. I know a good amount about Akashic Records, an okay amount about Psych K. I'm still a forever student to mediumship, but I could definitely help you out. But in regards to like astrology, astral traveling, anything else, I'm just the stars, the moon, I don't know any of that. I have enough to learn on my plate, so I'm sorry to disappoint, but I have no cool astral stories to tell you, if that's what they would be. Ooh, this is an interesting question. Do I ever get bad feelings or vibes about a spirit that tries to come through? So the quick answer is no, because in order to communicate with spirit, they have to be so high vibe. I have to be so high vibe. We're like meeting at this very high vibration. So like any negative spirits or anything like that, I don't really believe in that, but that's a whole nother story. So no, but I will say that if you did not like this person in real life, like if you did not like this person or get along with this person when they were here, it does show up very standoffish. Like it does show up kind of like someone walked in the room that you don't like and you're like, oh, why are they here? This happens a lot with like maybe parents that you weren't close to, someone that did you wrong, someone that maybe harmed you in life. They will still come up, but they will be very remorseful. They will be very understanding of what they did. They usually have a different perspective on the situation. They usually come back with healing messages. So while it's not rainbows and butterflies, it's like, oh, your dad's here. Did you not get along with your dad, or was he not around a lot because he's kind of standing in the corner of the room? It shows up more like that. I love when I do Q&As because I find that the questions are very similar and they're not from the same people, because that's what I also thought, but they're not from the same people. So this is another similar question. And the question is, have I ever encountered a low vibe being or spirit? How do you consistently not attract or see them? And the simple answer is this: boundaries. You put up what you want to see, not see, who you want to talk to, not talk to, who you want to communicate with, not communicate with. But in my mind, my mind's eye and my mediumship eye, I only communicate with spirits that are for your greatest and your highest good, that have a message to say that is going to help or heal you. So it's really hard to connect with a spirit who doesn't have anything to say. It's really hard to connect with anyone who doesn't need to be connecting with you. In my mind, how I picture it, it's like a letter or mail. If someone wouldn't be sending you mail, then there's nothing in your mailbox. Same thing with spirit. So while there's nothing to be avoided, it's very much like a high intention I'm holding of what's for your greatest and highest good. What do you need to know today? What's going to be the biggest help and support for you? In the same way with Reiki, you get Reiki where you need it most. I believe the same thing runs with mediumship. You get the spirit that you need to talk to the most. That's going to be the most impactful. That's going to be the most helpful. So I don't really ever worry about low vibe spirit because I'm not low vibe. I'm not playing in that vibe. I don't swim in that pool, so I'm not going to deal with anything like that. Also, no one who like you wouldn't want to talk to. That's not my intention. My intention is for your greatest and highest good. So those are the only spirits that are allowed to come through. Boundaries, boundaries, boundaries. You are in charge always. Always, always, always. You just need to say what you want and what you don't want. Spirit used to bother me all the time in my sleep until I said, hey guys, you're not allowed to wake me up. You're not allowed to actually come in my dreams. You're not allowed to give me messages. You're not allowed to be in my bedroom, actually. So now I sleep like a little baby. So if you're having trouble, that is not Spirit's fault. That is your fault. Sorry to call you out here. Set a boundary. You're in charge, always. You're not drowning in a pool. You are swimming. You are fine. Okay, keeping on the spirit train, we're going to go into the next question. And it asks, if spirit only comes when they have a message or when they have something to say. And this is a good question because I feel like the short answer is no, they don't only come when they have a message, but also it's a lot easier and faster if they do have something to say, or if you do need something from them. For example, if you're like, oh, like, I wish Graham would just tell me that she knew I had her ring, then that gives her something to say, you know? So I always say if you're going to be going into a mediumship reading, think of who you want to connect with and think of what you need them to say to you so you can get that validation. But also that doesn't mean that just those spirits can come through. I think a medium named Brie really says this nicely. She's like, it's like we're at a party where it's all your people at the party and we can kind of find someone you want to talk to, but the people who have something to say are going to be like right by the door, right? They're like, oh my gosh, I can't wait to talk to you. You're here. But that doesn't mean that that's the only spirits that will come through. So I do find that when spirits like sneak in a Reiki session or something like that, it's definitely because they have a message, right? They have something important to say. So it's urgent. They're eager to say something. But that just doesn't mean that that's the only time they'll come through. So good question. Okay, let's jump to a Reiki question. This question asks, how many Reiki sessions can I do a day? And do clients come back regularly? Or do I have a lot of new clients? Ooh, good question. So the amount of sessions that I can do in a day is 3 1-hour sessions. I can push it to 4, like if someone really needs something. But I try not to do that on like my Monday or Tuesday. It would be like my Friday where I could be a little bit more tired. Just because I do work with clients 6 days a week, I monitor how many I take a day. So yeah, 3 sessions a day usually is what I do. Sometimes 4 if they're like 2 smaller sessions, but that could be Akashic Records, that could be Psych K, Distance Reiki. Clients per week, there's a mix of like those sessions that I do, and then also like my mentorship, and also teaching Reiki, and also meeting in the middles. So it's a lot of balance, but I would say if you're starting out, you want to build towards 3 sessions a day. It's not like massage therapy where we can do, 7 or 8 people of Reiki in a day. Even though Reiki is not draining, it is still energy. So you will still feel tired, but it's not your cup being emptied. So my mentor, who has been doing energy work for over 20 years, she likes 3, but her wait list is so long, she does 4 a day, and she's like, that's the most. So yeah, it's not like a regular 8-hour a day working, but energetically, that's what I can hold space for, and I'm happy with that amount, so we'll keep it. And the second part of that question is like, how often do clients come back, or do they come back regularly? I would say that maybe 30 or 40% come back regularly, and then 60% is new clients. Because I offer so many different things, some things you only need to do once or like not very often. Reiki, I do find I have repeat clients for in-person and for distance. So it just depends what people need and how often they need it. Yeah, hope that helps. This is a fun question. So is there anyone else in my family that has psychic abilities? So this is a hard question to answer because I want to say I'm not sure. I definitely think my brother is an empath as well, who is figuring out kind of his abilities. I just had him take Reiki level 1, and he actually enjoyed it, and I think it will really kind of answer a lot of questions for him. I have had other psychics tell me that my abilities are from my dad's dad's side, and that it skips 2 generations. So it would have been my grandpa's mom. And my dad said that grandpa always talked about like the gypsies and the gypsies this and mom and this, but we don't really know what that means, right? So in my family currently, is there like anyone I can talk to this about? No. My mom's side of the family is very religious, and not that they don't believe me, but I think it's like, yeah, Steph does this. Don't say you're a witch. She like asked the priest if what I'm doing is okay and stuff. It's funny. Hi, Mom. But as far as I know, I think it could be like past generations. I definitely think now is an easier time to explore these gifts, to develop them, to know what they are. Where I saw this Instagram post that was saying like, before, grandma just gave you a tea and told you that it would make you feel better. She didn't tell you it was a potion. Before, when you got a spirit message, you would just say it came in a dream. You wouldn't say you were channeling. And it was like all these like kind of comparisons of, before we used to like read your teacup to get your future. Now we just, have a soul session. So I think like, of course, this has been going on for a while, but in my direct family right now, I would say no. I'm the only one that talks to the dead. And I'm sure they're happy about that, to have just one. Okay, this is a really good question, and it's about the Akashic Records. It asks, can you cancel serious contracts that hold you back in your Akashic Records? Okay, great question. And I know a lot of people feel, and I don't know who is telling everybody this, I don't know where we're getting this information, but contracts sound so binding. You don't have anything holding you back. There's no buckle and chains that, are not allowing you to move forward. It's more, what do you have to learn in this lifetime? What did you decide to learn in this lifetime? So things that you see looping back around, things that you see in your life coming up again and again. Do you date the same type of person? Do you have the same problem at work constantly? Are you having the same argument with your brother, your mom? Those are your contracts. And I think we think our contracts are, something light and fluffy that we can just, I'm just going to deal with this. But it's more like, did you come to learn patience? Well, you don't really get to choose how you learn that, because patience might be with, your middle child. That's going to be long lasting, but it's how you deal with it. So can the Akashic Records cancel those contracts? No. Can they help bring things to your awareness? Yes. But I also have found that they're not like a cheat sheet. They won't tell you it. They will say, where's your most difficult relationships? Where's your most difficult situations? Where do you see loops coming back in your life? And they say, you want to pay attention somewhere? Pay attention to that stuff. And that's not the pretty, nice, fancy, dancy stuff, It's like, this is the hard work. This is the stuff you need to work on, is the relationship with your brother. That's super difficult. The problems that you have at work that you keep avoiding and you just keep getting the same type of job. All of those loops. They explained it once in the Akasha, and I really liked how they said it. They said, things will come back around and around and around and around. And eventually it'll feel like you're being slapped in the face. And you're being slapped in the face. Oh, why am I being slapped in the face? Why am I being slapped in the face? Ow, that hurts. Why am I being slapped in the face? Oh, I'm such a victim. Why am I being slapped in the face? Oh, why am I being slapped in the face? Eventually, you figure out what the message is, and you figure out why you're being slapped. So then you move your face. And I feel that's the biggest lesson. So, yeah, the Akashic Records can definitely help if you're like, why can't I move past this? Why am I having such a hard time? What can I see in this situation? But those are more your contracts. They're less like ball and chain holding you back. It's more like, where are you walking in a circle? Okay, and then there was some questions about spirits that take their own lives or babies that were terminated. And I'll say this, because I know this can be a very sensitive subject. On the other side, your soul has much more understanding than on this side. You can think of it as glasses are clearer, emotions are removed, the human experience is removed. So there's a lot more understanding. And I've channeled babies that have been terminated or that have passed before term. I've channeled people who have died by suicide. And it's so healing because they come through with such powerful messages for the people who remain here, right? It's all about our healing. And I was discussing this with someone where like grief is so selfish because it's all about us. It's all about what we need. And it's so interesting because the souls are fine. They're doing great, they have so much understanding and knowledge on the other side that it's us who need them to support us. So I do find that those souls come back and they really, really help out their loved ones because there's a lot of healing needed in those situations. So, yeah. I'll keep that short and sweet, but I just hope that helps. Okay, we'll come back to a fun question. This question asks, what are other ways to open up your awareness or communication with spirit? Any unique ways you've heard other mediums do? Ooh, this is a good question. Some things that I have my mentees do is you can try automatic writing. You can try going on like a spirit-led walk or drive and just see what comes to mind. Driving with no music on. Obviously meditation, getting quiet, pushing your awareness out. There's a lot of ways to communicate with spirit outside of just meditation, and you kind of just have to find what works for you. Like the shower for me is a good one, the washroom, anytime that your mind is quiet and you're able to hear and pay attention, you just have to get quiet. So we have to quiet our minds and we have to quiet our world. So however that is for you, if you want to go for a bike ride, if you want to go for a run, right now one of my mentees, we are literally working on connecting when she's running and seeing like what does she pick up on, what's there, what signs is she getting. So just know that it's not a one size fits all, but you do have to find what works for you. So try out a different approach and see what's easiest for you. But you're trying to quiet the noise so that spirit can be loud. Okay, and the last question for today is about spirit guides. If and how I work with them, how do you first connect with them, and do you build a relationship with them? Good question. So it's funny because I have two things to say about this. So I know my guides, I've met them over the years. So I have Karen and Susan, and they kind of stand, it looks like, if you close your eyes, it looks like heaven's gates. Like they're like big gold gates with like clouds around it, and there's only the gates, like there's nothing else. Then there's two doors. Karen sits, like lays on top of the gates, and Susan just stands beside the gate on the left side. She just stands there. And neither of them talk to me. They both just make facial expressions at me. And then I also have a guy named Mo. And Mo, like if you were to think of it as like a TV screen, Mo sits very close to the TV screen. So like Mo's at the front, and then Karen and Susan and the gates are behind. And Mo's like, he talks and he's really excited and he's really like energized. He kind of looks like Aladdin. And Karen and Susan kind of just look like angels, like they're wearing all white. Anyway, so Mo like is really hyped, and he opens the gates and he tells me to go walk inside, and very often I won't, because I'm pretty sure which is what's in the gate is like psychic information. It seems very like future whenever I've gone in there, and I'm scared. I still have my own developing to do, but Mo's always like pushing open the gates and being like, go in there. And I'm always like, what's in there? And it looks like a meadow, and it's like green, and there's water, and there's like so much in there. And I'm always like, no, I'm not going. And like Karen and Susan roll their eyes at me. So those are my guides, and I've slowly met them over the years. Like they just always were there. And then it was like, oh, what do I call you? And like, we're so human. We just want to give them names. So those are their names. I recently did like a spirit guide meet and greet workshop because I was like, I don't use my guides as much as I probably should. I feel like I just know what they're going to say. It's like when you need to go ask your parents something and you know they're going to say no. Like you don't even want to ask because you just know the answer is no. That's similar, me and my guides. So I'm like, I know what they're going to say. Like I don't need to go see them. So whenever I do like, go up there and ask them a question, it's always like, I feel like a dog with like a tail in between my legs. And I'm always like, guys, I have a question. And Mo's like funny. He always like pretends to be dusty and he like dusts himself off. He's like, oh, now you need me. Like, oh, now you want to use me. But anyway, so I did a spirit guide meet and greet, and there was like this guided meditation where you go into this house and you meet your guides and blah, blah, blah. And I like didn't really see anything. Like, I think I fell asleep, to be honest, but I didn't get any messages. I didn't really get a lot of the imagery we were supposed to get. I was like, I'm so bad at this. I'm going to try again. But at the last part of the imagery, it was like walk up the stairs to your highest self and like get your greatest piece of information or get what you need to know most. And I remember I must have like woken up or came to, or this is the only part that I remember. I was like standing at the bottom of these long stairs looking up, I imagine like an addict. And I saw like Mo at the top of the stairs leaning, and he was like, ha ha ha. He's like, you don't have to come up here to know what we have to say. And it was like funny, but also like so true, where I was like, yeah, I don't. Like, I know what you guys have to say. Like, I know that you're just going to be like, work on this, go do this. Is it your fault? Mirror, you have to learn this. We're going to throw you a curveball. We're going to throw you a lesson. You asked for this. Guess what happens when it comes. Like, I just know. So it was really funny because like, I feel like that was a lot of confirmation. Him being like, you don't have to walk up these stairs to know what we're going to say. Like, you know. So yeah, that's my relationship with my spirit guides. I ignore them. And if I really need something, I ask them. I feel like I use other tools more than my guides, I would say. Like with spirit, it's very different than guides. Like spirit is outside energy. Guides are mine, right? Like they're for me. Also, I'm in the Akasha a lot, which I find I learn a lot from other people. That really helps me out if like problems I'm having or something that's going on in my life. I also use energy a lot. So obviously Reiki, but I sway test a lot. I use pendulums. I know how to get answers for things. I know how to figure things out. So like, especially the sway test, I'm like, is this a good idea? Should I do this? Should I do that? Should I get this or that? I can figure it out. I find I get more direct and quicker answers than that. But yeah, that's my relationship with my guides. I have 3. I do believe that like you have many. I also believe that they come and go. And I believe that they don't all need to have names. You don't need to know who they are. That's like very human of us to just want to label it that way. But I do find if you have something consistent coming around, even if you don't know their name, that's your guide. And it feels more like your higher self. It feels more going up, like within your crown, less like pushing out like a balloon for spirit. So yeah, that's my guides. Karen, Susan, and Mo. What a gang. And yeah, Karen and Susan just like give me looks. Karen actually like rarely moves her face. So if she does, it's like, that's a big surprise. Susan just like rolls her eyes or she like looks away. It's just really, it's hilarious to be honest. And Mo is just like a ball of energy. He's kind of like Aladdin to be honest, but he's just like really excited for everything. And I'm like dragging my feet and he's like, let's go. Let me show you this. Let me show you that. And I'm like, no thanks, Mo. I'm just going to chill over here and not look at the gates that you just pushed open that have been locked for, a year and a half. Fancy for you to appear today. So, yeah, that's my experience. I definitely think if you want to work with your guides more, just ask and get familiar with the energy because it's your energy. So, because I work with Reiki so much, I feel like I'm very good at feeling energy, knowing energy, understanding the different energies, understanding familiar energies, understanding energy that's for me versus others. Reiki is really a huge tool in my tool belt that I like to use. So if you are Reiki certified, I know many of my listeners are, use energy. Use what you know of energy to help you. And that is a perfect segue for me to tell you that if you do want to learn Reiki, my April courses are live. So Reiki Level 1 is April 2nd and 3rd. There are 2 spots left, I believe, in that course. And then there will be a Level 2 at the end of that month, April 30th and May 1st. So if you've been waiting for a Reiki course, this is a great opportunity. They are held live via Zoom with me. They're 9 or 10 hours, depending on what course you take, divided over 2 days. And they're always a lot of fun, and they're available worldwide, so wherever you are, you can join. We have had people join at 6 a.m. from Australia, 5 a.m., and most recently 3 a.m. from Thailand. I've had 4 a.m. from Singapore. I cannot believe it, but it is amazing that Reiki is calling your name, and you feel so strongly that you want to learn with me. So if you would like to sign up, I will leave all the links to everything down below in the show notes. If you want to book an appointment with me, I will leave all those links down below in the show notes. But that is all I have for this week. Thank you so much for your questions. I always think it's so interesting what you want to hear, what you want to know about, what you're curious about. And it really helps me feel connected to my audience, just being able to check the pulse and be like, what are you thinking about? And it was astral travel this time, which I'm sorry I can't help you out on. But yeah, thank you for your questions. I do this every few months, so you can always DM me your questions, and I kind of save them up until I have enough for an episode, or I'll do a little question box on Instagram at Medium in the Middle. But until next Tuesday, everybody, thank you for being here. Thank you for joining and listening. I would love and appreciate a rating and a review if you haven't left one already. It really helps me out in the podcast world. And it is a great token of your appreciation to the podcast. So thank you for all the reviews. But that's all from me this week, everybody. I will see you next Tuesday in your ears. Bye, everybody. Have a great week.